All right, welcome back everybody. Stage 3 of the pickems. At this point, I'm not even gonna try and tell you that we are onto something here. No, we're just vibing, we're just having fun. For those of you that did obviously watch what happened in stage 2, you probably know that there isn't many people out there that have been able to go through that. I think Ash is the only one that's actually made a video about it and got in firefight. We decided to go for yeah, what did we go for? We went Falcons and 3D Max 3-0, which didn't happen. We went Limb Vision and Legacy 0-3, which obviously didn't happen as Legacy decided to go 3-0 and Limb Vision made it as well. And then we had Face Clan Inferior to make it, but OG didn't, Heroic didn't, MIBR didn't. And yeah, they didn't either. So all of the teams that we thought were going to make it pretty much didn't, bar those two. And we are going into stage 3, which at this point is just all about the fun, isn't it? It's all about just enjoying the fact that this is the major of madness and nothing is going to go the way that we expected. Obviously, the big surprise for everyone was the fact that Falcons got eliminated, probably the biggest upset in a major. If you're looking at the proportion expectations to reality since the Krakow major in 2017, when FaZe couldn't make it out of the group stage, but even then it was a different format. They were still top 16. And yeah, Nico was part of that team. He's part of this one as well. There is a lot to be said there, and it's honestly it's a bit of a shame. Honestly, it is a bit of a shame because the next stage, and I feel like the playoffs would have been much more interesting as well with Falcons involved. Now it's going to be a little bit more I don't want to say a little bit more vanilla. I don't want to say a little bit more boring. It opens up space for other people to shine, I guess. But yeah, with Falcons in the event, it definitely would have been more interesting. At least for me, the good news is FaZe made it. So you're gonna get that part of entertainment, and all of us are gonna get that part of entertainment because in the end of the day, it is really respectful and it's really or respectable, and it's really nice seeing those tier 2 and tier 3 squads, well, not tier 3 squads, but those tier 2 squads make it forward. Teams like Nemiga, teams like obviously Lim Vision. I am a big Nemiga supporter and enjoyer, but yeah, it is nice seeing Legacy, Lim Vision, Nemiga make it through to this stage. For everyone else, I think it's expected. In the same time, obviously, we lose out on watching the Falcons, but it is what it is, I guess. So we're gonna get into the swing of things now. There is a couple ways that I've seen people go about with this, and the reason that I didn't record the video straight away is some of you might know I am doing the Bulgarian broadcast for the major. So yeah, broadcast day ended around 3-4 a.m. and I just went straight to bed. And now I've seen some of the picking videos and I've seen some of the angles that people have decided to go for. Now the one thing that I will do this time around is I will just say, you know what, screw it, I'm just gonna go with my guts. So looking at the matchups for the first round, the most interesting thing there is that it is quite difficult to ignore putting Vitality 3-0, considering their opening matchup is against Legacy, and sure, Legacy did a really good job. I don't want to believe that Legacy is going to be the team to end the streak of Vitality. An interesting thing is, and I want to say this. Legacy was quite close to getting a map off of Vitality on Dust 2. I think it was EPL when they got 11 rounds against them a couple months ago. So they have been close to getting a map. You never know what map this is going to end on. If it ends up on a Dust 2, I'm actually going to be interested to see how it goes. But yeah, I just think Vitality are going to come into this one and completely annihilate everyone. Now the tricky part with Vitality is that they haven't actually played a best of one yet this season, but I think something similar with what VP did in the first stage is to be expected, especially when talking about the best team in the world right now and the one team that is far ahead of everybody else. So we are going to go Vitality 3-0, which automatically means we're not going Legacy 3-0. Now, looking at the other first round matchups, I think there's a couple angles that you could try and take with the 3-0s. Now, my my main favorites for this that I would consider, first of all, Spirit are playing Pain, but this is a really tricky game, and I want to believe in the fact that both Mouse and Spirit have an opportunity for a 3-0. I've seen the Navi angle, and this is one that you could probably explore as well, considering they're starting things off against Amiga. I still think Navi is going to be producing a high level of play. The one thing is, I think with Navi, same as a couple other teams, there are changes happening probably right after the season. So it will be, obviously teams would have prepared, even the ones that are making changes, but it's completely different when you're going into an event and you know you're not going to be together after it. You know, some of the decisions have already been finalized, so you never know how much you're going to be given out of yourself. You never know if you're going to be able to push yourself on 100%. And I think actually the most dangerous thing is not the players going into the event not giving their best, but the players going into the event maybe sometimes doubting if the people around them are giving their best. This is probably the worst part of it all. So I'm not gonna put Navi 3-0. I would have with the Namiga pick, but I honestly feel like Namiga could take a BO1 out of Navi, and I honestly think that even if they end up winning here, they just have a really tough draw. Now, one team that I think has the opportunity to go 3-0 right now is Mouse. And I know a lot of you are going to call me crazy on this one because they are playing Virtus Pro first round, and I actually would put VP to even go through after their really good performance in the previous. The one reason why I think this is a good matchup for Mouse, though, is veto-wise, they they have a really comfortable one against Virtus Pro. And the last time those two teams played against each other, that was at the PGO Cluj Napoca. VP won one map. That was Inferno. It was a 16-13. Everything else was really one-sided in favor of Mouse. I am not sure if we're gonna get another Inferno out of this. We're probably not getting an Inferno out of this matchup in a BO1. And the worst part about this is that Mouse have a really good punish angle on Ancient. They have a really good punish angle on Nuke, which is obviously the permaban for VP. Train is not a map that Virtus Pro have played as much as well. They've played it only twice. There is a couple maps on which I think Mouse could catch VP off guard. Mirage is another one. I am just not sure how much Virtus Pro veto-wise could actually find a comfortable ground to play against Mouse. And Mouse, in my eyes, has always been a team that is really solid and to be trusted with group stages. And this is obviously the angle for probably the Mongols and Aurora for many for many people. They're going into events thinking they 100% make it out. The question is, how are they gonna do once we get into the playoffs, right? This is the big what if. But the Mongols playing against Fury, I think, is a tricky one and is really unpredictable. Aurora playing against FaZe, again, is really unpredictable, and I would advise against going for them for the 3-0. So I'm going to look in Vitality and Mouse here. Now, for the 0-3s, I think there is, again, a really obvious angle, and I don't want to be the one to do it, but I will go Limb Vision. I've put Limb Vision, I think, in every single stage I've put them 0-3, and I've never gotten them so far. So I will just keep doing it until the very end. If that is what is supposed to happen, if I'm supposed to just keep on putting Limb Vision and not get a point, so be it. I'm really happy for the guys. I'm really happy for Emilio. Obviously, he went out and gave that interview saying that he wanted to make it so far to be able to support his family, and it's for a good cause. He's doing it out of the love for his family and his mom and his siblings, which he put out. So I am really happy for those guys. They were really entertaining to watch. I liked watching them, and I think I've grown up to be a fan of this Lim Vision lineup, but I still think the level is going to be a little bit too high. And with that opening game against Liquid, even though I'm not someone that rates Liquid too high right now, I would say Lim Vision are set up for 0-3. And the other team that I would actually argue has an opportunity to go 0-3, and I know this is a crazy one, but I'm going to go G2 here. The reason I am going G2, because I know Namiga and Legacy are probably the obvious ones. I still feel like they're bringing in a lot of momentum going into here. And then you can say, yeah, Lim Vision are bringing in momentum as well. I think theirs was a lot less fluent, even though they did get a really good win against Bait, and they were without a doubt the better team. I believe that Namiga tactically has a little bit more depth, and especially on a BO1, they have the firepower to match up against some of the better teams. I honestly believe Legacy for a 0-3 is a great shout, but they are bringing in a lot of momentum as well. The question here is, how much will Legacy believe that they're just going in and they've already made it, and they are already going to be really competitive against some of the best teams after what they did against FaZe Clan. Now, I am giving that Legacy against FaZe game more on the fact that I don't think FaZe were really checked in, but still not taken away from Legacy. Only because of that BO3, I'm going to have respect and I'll put him here. I think G2's in shambles again. Obviously, there's going to be a lot of changes happening after the season. I don't really know how much quality time they've got in practicing. I know they were winning some BO3s in the most recent events, but I just see a world where G2 doesn't even get close to winning a BO3, or even in a best of 3 right now. If it's an elimination BO3 between Namiga and G2, I would say I give it a 50-50, maybe even a 55-45 in favor of Nemiga. So I will put G2 in here. I think obviously with Hades just being in temporary oper and going out, he's going to be motivated to show himself, but I'm not sure if the level is going to be high enough. Uh, there is probably people that know we're not going to be staying on the team as we're going into the event. So there's a lot of ifs, buts, and maybes. I don't really think there's a lot of pressure on G2. I don't think they themselves expect to do that well. So they are going to be my second 0-3 team. And then we go into the teams that are going to go further. Now, Spirit, we're putting in 100%. The Mongos, we're putting in 100%. Now, I think I've seen a lot of angles for Furia. I will still say I believe in Virtus Pro after what I've seen in the previous stage. The thing is, that was VP playing against decent teams, but not playing against teams that are anywhere near this level right now. And they looked good. That was probably the best looking VP we've seen in a long time, and a lot of it had to do with Electronic playing one of his best individual events so far this year. They took down OG, they took down Bait, they 2-0'd Pain. It looked good. It looked really good, even though the maps against Pain were quite close. I still want to trust him for it. Obviously, I'm gonna put Aurora in here. And then for the last couple spots, I think it becomes really complicated because Virtus Pro is a pretty unorthodox one for many, even though I think they have the quality. And if Electronic is able to keep up the individual performance, I really believe that they can play good Counter-Strike. I'm not going to put Nemiga to go through. I love 3D Max, but that's going to be a tough one. Okay, so we're going to start it off like this. Legacy and Nemiga I'm not putting in, 100%. I won't put in Liquid. Navi, for me, is a team that could always surprise and come in with a high level, even though I know what I said about the roster changes coming in. I just rate Alexi B and Blade as an IGO coach duo too much. But you know what? We're gonna go with the flow here. I'm gonna put in FaZe Clan. And my last one is, I guess, between Furia and Pain. Now, with Pain, the main concern was, will 1 month with DGT be enough for them to establish somewhat of consistency and start playing good Counter-Strike? I think the answer we got was a pretty big fat yes. I like Furia. I like what Furia is doing right now. I'm even contemplating about potentially removing VP and putting the two of those two here. The only thing that stops me from 3D Max, even though I love 3D Max and I think they're a really crafty and aggressive team and really exciting to watch, and Lucky's playing great Counter-Strike right now. Body's showing that he can be the star of the team and lead them as not even the in-game leader, but just the leading figure, the, I guess, figuratively speaking, captain of the team mentally sometimes and in the server with the aggressive plays that he's putting out. I just think the veto's probably not deep enough, and I think there is a little bit, there's a lot of weaknesses veto-wise for 3D Max, unless they've worked on it, which I think they have, and that is why I'm putting them over G2 as well in the first round matchup, because I think, for example, if they get them on an Inferno, they could surprise them, and they could surprise them on a couple maps. This is actually tougher than what I thought. Now that I go into it, I realize, even though I don't really care as much right now, it is really difficult to make a decision. It's just the fact that those three teams should be in here 100%. Aurora, Spirit, Mongos, Mouse, and Vitality are the 5 teams that are going to go through. Question is who's going to be 3-0, who's going to be, 3-1, 3-2, or should go through 99%. Then FaZe Clan, I'm just putting in for the sake of, building some momentum. I think they did make, even in that game against MIBR, there was mistakes. And I think against other teams, against more experienced teams like unlike MIBR, even though I rate the Brazilians, they would have gotten punished. If that was a BO3 against VP, for example, they would have lost the Ancient. I'm not sure if you watched it, but there was a couple moments that they lost against Pistols. They lost man advantages. FaZe is just a really difficult team to put down, though, and I hope that, and I think there is a world where they just build up momentum with every single other game, and they just become better and better progressively. So I think those 2 losses were a wake-up call for them. That's my reason to put them in here, and obviously Frozen's playing like a madman. Elise is playing well. Simple, I think, will keep on getting better and better. That's a tough one. I really like VP, Furia, and Pain. Which one do we rate more? That is the big question. You know what? I'm gonna go Pain. I really would love to put 3D Max in. I like what Furia are doing with Molodoy and Yakinder, and I think Fallen is actually slotting in surprisingly nicely into supportive roles as well. But maybe Furia in in a little bit more time. For Pain, I know they've made a roster change, but I just think they skyrocket rapidly. And I think they're playing with a lot of confidence and they realize they are a new team. That's the main thing. I think it's a 50-50. It's really difficult to make a reasonable argument why you would take Fury over Pain or Pain over Fury, bar maybe saying Fury have experience and they have non-Brazilian players that have played high-level Counter-Strike. That is probably the only thing that you could say. Other than that, it's a pure 50-50 for me. I just have a gut about Pain, so I'm gonna lock it in right here. It just doesn't feel right. I don't think anything feels right at this point with those pickems, and we failed every single stage so far. But you know what? Screw that. We go forward, and yeah, we hope for the best. So hopefully that was a little bit helpful for someone. And yeah, let me know what your pickems are right below. And just before we round it out, I can share a little secret with you, and that is that Skin Club is hosting their own pickems, and I'm gonna leave a link for you on top of the description, so you can click that. You can do your pickems completely free, and then if you get enough points, and if you have participated in the first and second rounds as well, you could win a Dragon Lore potentially, or win some other cool skins that are accumulating to a total prize pool of $20,000, which is quite nice. So yeah, thank you for watching. Thank you very much for giving me your time. And for those of you that just skipped to this part of the video to look at my final pickems, this is what they look like. Vitality Mouse 30, Lim Vision G203, and then we have Spirit Mongos, VP, Aurora Face, and Pain. This is probably going to go horribly wrong, but you know what the good news is? It can't go worse than last time around. So yeah, thank you for watching, folks, and yeah, I'll see you before the start of the playoffs.